Hello, everybody. My guest today is Tomer Levy. He's the CEO and co-founder of a company called Logs.io. Before founding this company, he co-founded and was the CTO of another company called Antigua, a company that developed innovative Docker-like containers designed for large enterprises. Prior to Antigua, Tomer spent 6 years at Checkpoint, where he led its intrusion prevention system, or IPS product, from concept to market, generating $100 million in revenue in the second year alone. Tomer was an MBA from Tel Aviv University and has a BA in computer science and is an enthusiastic kite surfer. Tomer, are you ready to take us to the top?
Yes, I am.
All right, very good. So let's just jump right into here to Logs.io, your current company. What does it do and what's your revenue model?
Sure, we're a log analytics company. We help customers like Dine, Turner Media, British Airways analyze data generated from machines. If you think about it, every machine in your room, from your computer to your mobile phone to even your house, has software that generates logs. We help companies analyze this log data and basically reduce the time it takes to solve problems in their web servers, in their databases. This is kind of the main product that we offer. Our business, as you asked, is basically selling software as a service to analyze this data.
Yep. And are you selling like to IT folks or CTOs at companies?
Yes, usually it would be SRE, DevOps, IT operation. This is, I would say, most of our customers. About a quarter of our customers are actually security teams that also need to monitor log files, monitor log events, and kind of correlate to understand threats and attacks.
And what would you say on average, just so we can get a sense of kind of deal size here? What's the average customer paying you, either per month or per year, whatever's easiest for you?
As you get this answer, often it's complicated. It starts with the I would say the self-service tier, which usually people buy online, paying a few $100 a month. That would be a few $1,000s a year. On top of it, we have two main cohorts. One of them is the SMB. Usually would pay about 10 to 15K a year for the product. And on top of it, we have what we call SME, small medium enterprise. Would usually pay 50K per year minimum, and then would go to a few $100Ks for the high-end enterprises.
When you look at your sweet spot, though, I mean, so is it fair to? I mean, we put a range on it. It's fair to say, between 10 and 40K in annual contract value. I mean, is that? Think about the last few deals you've closed. They've kind of been in that range.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I would say as we evolve, we're a very young company. So
how old are you? When did you launch the company?
We launched it on 2014. We launched the company. We launched the product in end of 2015. So we're about a year and a half in the market today. So if you look at the last 10 deals, probably around 40K. Yeah.
And are you? Is your process on those folks? Do you have an inside sales team there or no?
Yes. So what we do very differently from most companies, at least in our space, is we focused on open source. So we're actually a large part of what we offer is actually an open source platform called ELK, ELK often used. So just for the sense, ELK has about 500,000 downloads a month.
What is it?
So,
like for a non-technical person, describe that to me.
So think about it like a set of libraries. You install them on a server, and they basically take all the data, any data you have. It can be web application, it could be data about a credit card swiping, your e-commerce. It doesn't matter. You put it into this one bucket, and what ELK allows you to do, it's basically visualize the data and understand what's important in it. What we do is we offer that in the cloud with more capabilities. So I'm going back to your question about kind of the way our business works is really based on the open source community. So we see today many companies, thousands of new companies sign up to our platform every quarter and start the process, start to use the platform. And this is kind of the main driver to the business. And this is how we actually get our initial
now,
deal.
Did you intentionally launch this open source project with the know-how that one day you would use it as lead generation for a paid product?
So unfortunately, we're not the one who actually developed the open source from the beginning. It was actually developed by different folks, and they spend most of the time kind of investing in the core search engine. The ELK is, I would say, a very strong search engine. What we've built on top of the core open source, we've built I would say, an application, a solution for specifically for log management. So customers, instead of them trying to install, maintain, it's really hard. It takes a lot of time and effort. They kind of get that as a SaaS from us in the cloud. And unfortunately, we didn't invent that.
So is a good way to think of Elk for a non-technical person? It's basically like Google search for all your log data.
Perfect. Yes.
Okay.
You said it.
Got it. And then what you're doing is making management of those logs easier, way more robust than just a search with your new platform.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
how do you make, so this is an interesting question because this is a growth channel that other people could use, kind of the open source to paid model. Yep. But since you didn't create the open source software, like how do you make sure you're the one getting leads, right, when people go use that for free?
Yeah, that's actually an interesting discussion, and we're not the only one doing something called open SaaS. It's open source as a SaaS.
Who are some others? Just name one or two.
You can think about Pantheon. They do WordPress as a service. You can think about Cloudera is kind of in this market, but it's more on-prem, Hortonworks and others. So,
and what's the label you gave them? What was it called?
Open SaaS, open source as a service.
Open source as a service.
Yes.
Interesting, but it's free usually. I mean, it has to be free.
If you sell it as a service, it's hard to do it for free. So obviously the free tier, think about GitHub, right? GitHub just offers the Git open source as a service. Obviously, GitHub offers more capabilities. If you're a developer, it's a great platform. In the same sense, we offer first the open source and then start to pile on more capabilities, machine learning and some more advanced stuff. So yeah, that's kind of in a nutshell. And the way we get leads and how do I make sure that we are dominant in that space is a lot of content. So we've been writing content before, just as we launched the company, we started writing content. Today, we're the number one contributor of content to the ELK community. So if you search Google for ELK on AWS, Elk in production, we're number one in Google in all of these searches. And we're contributing a lot to the community and also getting, obviously, traction and leads from these articles.
So if someone else wanted to do this, what you would do is go find a relevant open source community, right, for whatever your product is, and make sure you're the one contributing the most free value to that community so that when someone wants a more advanced version, they find you naturally.
Exactly. And I would add one more thing, and this is very delicate for open source. The open source has to be good enough to get started, good enough, easy to get started and use it, so it will have mass distribution, but it has to get to a point where it's hard to scale it. It's hard to make it production grade, and this is where commercial companies have a lot of leverage.
Because otherwise people just keep making open source stuff. Exactly. Or copy. Yeah. Exactly. So where are you? How many customers are you serving today?
So we have today about just again 1.5 years in the market. We have about 1,000 companies from 80 different countries which use Logs.io. A few hundred of them are paying customers. A few hundred of them are free users of our.
Okay. I mean, call it like 300 paid, something like that.
I'll keep that one private, but a few hundreds. Yeah.
Okay, good. And then walk me through kind of the story from a financial perspective. Did you decide to bootstrap this, or have you raised capital?
So we actually had to make a decision very early on. We raised money, but we could have built a lifestyle business out of this company very easily because we had traction day zero. We made a decision we want to build something big. Given our experience in the past, we already built companies. So we raised $24 million in these 2.5 years. The last round was in October. We raised $15.6 million.
Of 2016?
Yes.
Got it. And what's team size to date?
We're 70.
7-0.
7-0.
And you said, I always love this because I got in a huge debate on a show a few days ago of this guy that said, Nathan, we have 10,000 customers. And later on in the episode, I did the math and it didn't check out. And I said, what happened? And he goes, oh, well, these aren't paying customers. And I'm like, well, what the hell's a customer if they're not paying? Like, call them a free trial, right? Yeah. And he's like, no, we like to call them a customer because it's a mode of thinking and it's how we should think. I said, you're full of shit, basically. These are free people. You haven't monetized this thing and it's not working. And he's like, you can't sell software up front. And I said, baloney. I know people that do it all the time. It sounds like you were profitable or you had traction on day one. Tell me about that traction. How did it happen? What was day one revenue?
So when we started the company, it was October 2014. I think probably February we already had something up and running, and we had 5 brave companies who said they're going to work with us. And
for free, or did they pay?
No, we didn't charge them money.
Okay,
We
free.
just
Okay.
just kissed their hands for allowing us to test the product. And then like a month later, we opened it up and said, okay, now maybe someone will sign up. It's not good enough. We were afraid, and then someone signed up, and then another person signed up, and we started to be 5 signups a day, 10 signups a day. We get today many signups a day. So I would say my advice, even though your product is, sorry for the language, shit, and it was shit in the beginning, open it up, people will understand,
Yep.
you'll fix it, you'll iterate fast, and we just jumped into it.
That's so smart. What was first? I guess 2014 was your first year, right? Did you have any revenue in 2014 or no?
No, zero.
Zero. What was
Yeah.
first year revenue then in 2015? How low? How embarrassing was it?
So we launched the product in October 2015. I think we were 6 figures at that point of
Okay.
ARR.
So you broke of ARR. Okay, so you hit
Yeah.
like what, like $9,000-10,000 bucks a month by December 2016.
Yeah, I don't have them like right now, but probably we had our first few customer, probably a few hundred K,
Yep.
few hundred, yeah, definitely for ARR. We like to count ARR because it sounds higher. So,
Yeah, yeah. For everyone listening, you guys know this because I talked to hundreds of SaaS CEOs, but ARR is just monthly recurring revenue multiplied by 12, right? It's a run rate. You take your current month's revenue multiplied times 12, and that's how you get 200 grand or whatever you guys were at Tomer. And then have you guys broke the $1 million run rate?
Oh, of course.
Of course. Okay. What can you share? How big have you grown it?
So unfortunately, I would love to share, but we made a decision, the company, not to share our numbers for competitive reasons.
Who do you compete with?
We broke that a long time ago.
Who do you compete with?
So we actually compete mostly with engineers setting up their own open source, and that's an interesting competition. On the commercial side, we compete with Elastic. It's an AWS. So AWS, Amazon Web Services, obviously a strong business in the market, and they offer, I would say, a simplified version of the open source. So they resolve some of the pain, and we see ourselves as more of a premium product, which we're much more expensive. We're working more with larger companies to help them get a kind of a more strategic solution.
Mm-hmm. And what does a company like this, I imagine it's hosting heavy. I mean, is your gross margin similar to other SaaS companies, like in the mid 80 range, or is it way lower or way higher? What's your gross margin?
It's not way lower. It's about that, maybe a bit lower. We will be at around that number, I hope next year. But it is a challenge, right? When you host, and think about it, we're a very young company. We have so much data. We have Amazon bill that go to the millions. Mm-hmm. So just think about how much the constant effort of technology to make sure you're not just moving the money to Amazon is always a challenge for every SaaS company.
Yeah. So just to be clear, you're paying between $1 and $5 million just a year just to Amazon for hosting.
Absolutely.
God, that's such a good business. Why don't we think of it? Damn it, Jeff Bezos.
I know.
So you're like, you just said, you're like, maybe call it 80% gross margin now, but as you scale, that's improving slowly, and you expect to be mid 80s later this year.
Well, we're going that path.
Do you focus on that, or you're not really? That's not something you really care about.
It's always a challenge, right? You're in a management meeting or a board meeting, and you say, "Hey, I have 2 engineers extra. Where should I put them on a new feature to bring a new customer to grow the business?" Or should I bring them to reduce the cost? And it usually goes to not reduce the cost, but focus on growth and focus on expansion. And this is where we are 100% on that. So to your question, we're investing very little resources on reducing the cost.
Yep. Now I want to put a floor on this because honestly, look, a lot of times people like shiny objects. They like clickbaity headlines. They like to hear about numbers and success. So the floor you gave me was a couple hundred customers. I'll call it 300. And the minimum you said, basically you said on the low end you're going to do 10 grand in ACV on one customer. So if that's $1,000 per month, I'm just multiplying 300 times that to come out to 300 grand per month in revenue at a minimum. Is that fair to say that's a minimum? I expect you're probably doing significantly higher than that.
We're doing significantly higher than that.
Good.
So.
Well, there you guys have it. So, right, a lot of success there. He's built a minimum, but look, my gut tells me it's probably, he won't confirm or deny this, but probably 2, 3, 4, 5 times that. But he doesn't obviously want competitive folks understanding how that works. Tell me more about the team. So you're 70 people. Where are you guys based?
So we're based in Tel Aviv, Israel. Big part of the team where we founded the company were Israelis, two Israeli founders. So R&D in Israel, and now I'm actually talking to you from Boston, from our Boston office. So we have a growing team in Boston here. and it's where the most of the go-to-market activity is here in Boston.
And what about in a space like this? What's your gross, not net, but what's your gross monthly customer churn look like? I mean, is it high, low? Does people switch easy?
So we the way we look at it is, if you look at the self-service, people who sign up on their own, they do something, this will have a higher churn rate.
Give me an example, like what's high?
It's still single digits yearly, like still less than 10% yearly.
Okay.
And on the once you pay, I would say 10K a year, I would say very close to zero.
Okay, got it. And then so maybe the right question to ask here, I'm trying to get a sense of how you're using your team, how many of them are salespeople, and how you use them to acquire new customers. So what do you forecast? You're still young, but hypothetically, what do you forecast lifetime value is on these customers so that you can back into, how many salespeople can I put on them and what can I put on paid marketing?
Sure. So we're very much a land and expand business. We see, year and a half, but we see the growth of existing accounts and the low churn. And it gives us the confidence that we should bring customers to where they feel comfortable coming. If they feel comfortable coming in with a small project for 5 or 10 or 20K, that's perfect for us. And if you're happy, and usually you are happy, you will grow. So when we look at how much do we want to invest in bringing in a customer? Currently, it's extremely low. It's way beyond the standard of the industry because we bring customer through content.
Well, yeah, but how many of the 70 people are sales and marketing?
Marketing is a pretty big team, like relatively, I would say probably 8 or 9.
Yeah.
Sales team is about 10.
Okay.
Most of the companies still R&D driven, R&D focused product.
So if you look though at a fully weighted CAC, meaning include the salaries of marketing and sales people, don't just look at paid marketing spend. I mean, are you spending $5,000 to get one of these new customers? I'm talking, by the way, about not your self-serve cohort. I'm talking about your 10K ACVs and higher kind of cohort.
Yeah, I think we're way beyond customer industry standard for the type of customers we bring. Usually you would see kind of the return period would be, I would say, 12 to 24 months for this kind of business. We're way well beyond below these numbers. So we feel we have currently a very, very efficient customer acquisition cost.
Just to rephrase that, so your payback period, you're doing way better than getting it back in the first year. Yeah,
you depend on the customer and the cohort. It can be first year
or definitely by the second.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely.
And got it. And that's just to be clear, guys. He's got 2 cohorts: a self-serve, which is its own animal, but everything above the self-serve cohort, your payback period super healthy. You've got you said 8 salespeople and 7 marketing people.
Yes, something like that. Yes.
Yep. Very cool. What about? I'm always curious about this. Are you doing anything on paid marketing at all right now, or is it all just content?
Yes, we do. And actually, it's a pretty it's easy to predict with PPC, and we see that we don't spend a lot of money. A few $1,000s a month. It's really small
quantify
numbers.
That though for me, like 5,000.
Yeah, something maybe 5 to 15, depend on the month, depend what you're trying to achieve, but relatively small numbers, small money, and it works well for us.
Yep. And where are you doing that? I mean, are you just doing typical PPC kind of ads, or are you doing anything creative like a sponsorship at events or things like that?
Oh, right. I didn't include events. Events were especially this year, we're massively investing in events. We have a team of community evangelists, and what they do is they go to events, they talk about the industry, they talk about something people care about, and they basically get the name out, to get the word out that LogZero is here. And this is it's very hard to measure, but this is one investment. I think on the obviously paid campaigns we do through Google.
How much will you spend on marketing stuff in 27? Keynote on sponsorships at events in 2017.
Hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Okay,
I don't have
less than $1 million.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay,
yeah.
Got it. Very good, Tomer. Let's wrap up here with the famous 5. Number 1, what's your favorite business book?
I would go for Ben Horowitz, The Hard Things About Hard Things.
Number 2, is there a CEO you're following or studying right now?
You got to look at Jeff Bezos, right?
Yep.
The guy.
Number 3, is there a favorite online tool you have, like Acuity Scheduling?
Yeah, I'm using Grammarly, being not native English speaker. It's great.
Your English is great. Number 4, how many hours of sleep do you get every night?
I would say 6 to 7.
Okay. And what's your current situation? Married, single? Do you have kids?
I'm divorced with one girl.
Okay, so this is one little one. How young is she?
She's 10.
Oh, 10. Okay, and how old are you, Tomer?
I am 39.
Okay, last question. Take us back 19 years. What do you wish your 20-year-old self knew?
Um, yeah, I think that, when I was 20, still today, you think that other people figured it out. But, now I see more that no one actually, like very few people actually figured it out. And it's okay, everyone is struggling. Take it easy. You'll figure it out. And yeah.
There you guys have it from the Logs CEO and founder, Tomer. Take it easy. You will figure it out. They launched back in 2014. Really got their first revenue in 2015, couple hundred grand. 2016, obviously, they've grown significantly. To date, we know they're serving at least in the low hundreds of customers, call it 300, paying at a minimum, call it $1,000 per month. They're about a $10,000 ACV for doing at a minimum, again, 300 grand per month, or well over $3 million annual run rate, potentially significantly higher. Tomer's being very modest, I feel like, but a lot of success. 80% gross margin, again, helping these really CTOs and technical teams understand and get a better grasp of how to manage their different logs and the processes they run around all those log files. Tomer, thank you for taking us to the top.
Thank you.